Rohit, take two.
Hello and welcome to NDTV. I'm Rohit Khildani. This is a special broadcast because we have two music legends, Bono and The Edge.
Here.
Welcome
Hello.
to this wonderful studio and thank you so much for this.
Rohit,
Thank you. Such a pleasure.
great to see you again.
Great to see you again. Guys, fans in India are eagerly waiting to get some good news. Do you want to break it to them? Do you want to tell them something?
Go on, Bono.
I wish to. I hope it's good news, but
It's great news.
certainly great news for our band is that we're coming to Mumbai on December the 15th. It's our first time in India, and we're pretty excited.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it?
Oh yeah. They say good things come to those who wait, and we've been waiting a long time to come to India, so we're really excited.
And let me tell you, you have fans all over India for many years, young fans, and everyone out there is eagerly waiting for you guys.
Well,
We're
we
very
don't want to
excited.
presume that, but
I'm telling you
but
that.
we're coming whether they're there or not, and at this point. But no, we're very excited. It's a mythical place to us, as well as an exciting and extraordinary, burgeoning democracy.
Right. What do you want to tell them? What should they expect from this particular concert?
Well, it's the Joshua Tree album with other songs. So we will be playing a show in 3 parts: opening, then that album from beginning to end, and then a third act to close the show.
Right.
So we decided, a little while ago to play the Joshua Tree album because it felt like those songs suddenly had a new poignancy. There was world affairs had almost come 360, and we were back to what felt to us like a similar era to the mid-80s when that album was first written and recorded. So it's been fun to see a whole new audience getting to know those songs played live as an entirety, and we're excited to see how it plays in India with our audience. We've never played, as you know, so it's for us the great thrill is to get to know our Indian audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see history repeating itself with your lyrics being so relevant even today. You see that, you hear that from your fans?
Yeah, even more so, I think, than in the 80s. There's jeopardy.
Right.
We were, India's just the most extraordinary achievement for democracy. A functional democracy in a world that's full of dysfunctional democracy, and we're very grateful to you for that. But I don't take democracy for granted, and I don't think we should. It's a blip, really, if you think about the history of human civilization.
Right.
So you should be very proud of it. Even whatever position you take on who's in government, you should be very proud of your democracy.
Right.
And the other thing that's so important to us is the fight against injustice. And we are somehow shaped and formed by Martin Luther King, who was a student of Mahatma Gandhi.
Right.
And Martin Luther King had this line. He said, "The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice."
Right.
I don't believe that anymore.
No?
I don't believe it anymore. I think it doesn't bend toward justice. It has to be bent towards justice.
Has to be that.
We have to actively be involved in our democracy to preserve it, and show people how we feel and the things that we care about. So this, we come as students to the source of inspiration that is ahimsa, if I could say that right. Non-violence.
Non-violence.
India gave us this.
Yeah.
It's the greatest gift to the world. You gave it to us.
Right.
And it's more powerful than nuclear energy. It's more powerful than the armies and the navies of the British Empire.
Right.
And we, it's more power than power itself. And it's never been more important.
Yes.
And we're going to play some rock and roll music.
Yeah, right.
And we're just going to turn up and have some fun. And, we make a very vivid show.
Right.
But we'll go through the black and white to get there.
Right. You speak so passionately about Mahatma Gandhi. Are these the things that stand out apart from ahimsa? What else?
Of India?
Yeah.
I first discovered India through Salman Rushdie's
Yeah.
Midnight's Children.
Midnight's
That's
Children.
where I certainly travelled. What about you?
Interestingly enough, our first ever show that you could describe as being about political activism was an anti-apartheid show in Dublin. We were very young. We were like 17, 18. And that movement, the anti-apartheid movement, was largely created by an Indian gentleman called Kadar Asmal.
Okay.
And Kadar was a lecturer in Trinity College. He actually taught our manager, Paul McGuinness. And Kadar eventually went back to South Africa and wrote the South African Constitution.
Right.
So our connections with India and activism and these principles go way back to the very beginning of the band.
Right. You know, what has a lot of things have changed over the years. Records have became tapes, and then now it's all digital. Selfies are the new autographs. Have you all adapted well to the change? I see you all having fun on social media as well.
You know, we do, but we're also aware of the fact that it has to work in a way that's consistent with who we are as artists. You know, not growing up in that era, you have to be cognizant of it being sort of there's certain risks involved in going headlong into it. So we approach it with a certain trepidation and respect and a sense.
It's not going to let me have to tweet.
Yeah,
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, well,
Yes, no.
Why?
we just have to be
You
careful.
wouldn't trust me with it.
We like to think about where the world is going, but we like to also take on new innovations on our terms.
Right. But if you had your way, would you tweet?
No, I wouldn't even trust myself with the Twitter account. Yeah, I think one should be thoughtful about important issues and not just sound off. Though I have done that, but I'm learning to be more considered.
I think the whole world of digital is still forming. And there's jeopardy. I think,
There is, yeah.
you know,
But-
and I think it'll take a few years before it settles down. But there's a kind of it's given vent to a lot of negative sentiment, I believe, and I think the antidote to what's the negative aspect of social media is communal events, concerts, the gathering together of people, rubbing shoulders with people who are very different to
Touching
you,
people,
realizing,
actually, like letting them.
realizing that the difference is to be
Right.
celebrated as much as to be cautious about. So,
You enjoy Instagram?
I do, but I'm also aware of the negativity that gets amplified so strongly on social media.
Why is that? Why is it such a double-edged sword?
I think it's deep, but I think there's almost, I hate to say it, there's almost a sadomasochistic sort of system where people are venting. They have rage and they have disappointment that they're just spewing on the internet, and it's not healthy.
It's not at all.
The blogosphere could put you off democracy. In Ireland, I don't know in India, but certainly in America and Europe, you know, they used to be in bathrooms, in toilets. You find all this graffiti, and some of it will be very unpleasant. I mean, very unpleasant.
Right.
If you go into these bathrooms now, it's not there.
It's not there. Now it's online.
It's online.
Right.
So one has to be
Right.
careful of that. But there's some great things of the digital world for artists. You get direct access to your audience. You know, streaming isn't yet at a place where it rewards artists as much as it might. We don't need to be rewarded. We're overpaid, overregarded, over everything. But for younger artists, I think eventually it will become fair. I think it's great what Savin are trying to do in respecting the regional differences in India. You know, technology is, whenever it interrupts, the politics change.
Right.
You know, the invention of radio changed things.
Right.
The invention of the printing press changed everything. Gave us the Reformation, then you had the 30 Years' War. You know, Europe was in terrible state.
Right.
So it's okay. We just have to get used to
it and
where we're at.
Right. Right. You know, how important is it for a band, for an upcoming band, to be famous in America? Even when you all started, you all wanted that, right? When you came on the cover of Time magazine, was that a huge deal, and you all wanted that always?
Early on, I think, being based in Ireland, we had our eyes on the UK to the east and to the west, America. The two countries that you could say gave birth to rock and roll.
Right.
And so it was very important for us to be recognised in both of those countries. Early on, the UK went well, and then all our eyes were on the US, and we put a lot of time and effort and planning into trying to connect there. And luckily we did.
Yeah, right. Also for Irish people, America was like the promised land or something. You know, really it was. And it wasn't just a country, it was an idea.
Right.
You know, Ireland was a great country, Britain was great country, but America was an idea.
Right.
And that was an idea that was somehow bound up in principles, equality, justice for all. And because we loved the country, I think we were allowed to be critical of it. And so the Joshua Tree album became this kind of love song to America, to the idea of America, but with some bitter, sweet moments on it.
Right. What's the big difference between that America and today's America?
I think there's similarities, actually.
There's similarity, yeah.
I think within America there's tension between what I consider my vision of America, and Bono I'm sure would agree, which is the America of Thomas Jefferson, the Declaration of Independence, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, where it's America is looking to try and become that example to the world of social justice and a kind of pluralism and all the things that America aspires to. But then there's the other side of America, which is quite conservative and in a kind of aggressive way. And during the time that the Joshua Tree album was written, America seemed to be flexing its muscles in Central America and kind of in a way that didn't seem very becoming to us, active around the world. And the politics of the time in America didn't seem to be very compassionate to us. So, there was changes of policy regarding health care and whatever. And we heard the stories of, mental institutions being emptied because there was no funding. And it was a difficult time. So now, I think through many decades, sort of America seemed to be heading back towards our vision, and now it's heading the other way. So we feel this moment in time in America's history is sort of quite similar to what was going on in the mid '80s.
Right. Live Aid concert is online, and now everybody can see it, even those who didn't attend. It's quite something to just watch that. But you still say it could have been better. How could it be better than what it was?
Well, it's the thing. One of the things I'm most proud of in our life, in our musical life, and it was an Irishman, Bob Geldof, who set it up, and it changed my life because after Live Aid, I went to live in Africa and tried to figure out what was going on with extreme poverty. What was the structural nature of it? Could I help? Was it a matter of charity, or was it a matter of justice?
Right.
And I came out on the side of justice in the end.
Okay.
So I went to work for the cancellation of debts from the poorest countries to the richest, stuff like that.
Right.
But it was a big bang for me, Live Aid. The fact that I did it with a mullet is a little humbling. One of the greatest days of your life, and you to go, did I really look like that? I mean, that's a terribly vain thing to share with you. I shouldn't be thinking about that. I should be thinking about the world's poor, and I'm just looking at, party in the back, business on the front. A man should not look like he irons his hair, just saying.
Right.
What I remember, and the lesson for me from the Live Aid was that sometimes what you get in a situation might be better than what you were anticipating or what you planned. But you've got to be awake to that fact. So in this instance, our plan was very different to what happened on stage.
Okay.
So we were a little freaked out, a little disappointed, because we thought we'd kind of blown it. Whereas in fact, looking back, what we ended up achieving in that performance was way better than we planned.
Better, yeah.
So it took us a little while to figure that out. So in the immediate aftermath of the show, we were like in the dressing room going, wow, what happened? That didn't go the way we had expected. But
It's funny,
the TV coverage tells a completely different story.
the two bands that people seem to gravitate all those years ago on that day, in particular, were Queen and our band. But Queen were very famous. We were not. We were just coming through. But I felt in the audience, I felt it was our audience.
Yeah.
Meaning, I felt it was a new generation that were coming through, who just weren't going to put up with the inequalities and you know, at the heart of U2, I think, is the idea that things don't have to be the way they are, and that, you know, the world is more malleable than you think. You can shape it. You know, all of us can shape it. Both our personal world and the world of politics. They don't have to take it. And you see incredible hardship, and you think this can never be fixed, but it can. You know, India. Wow. I mean, it's incredible, and I know you're frustrated trying to make it better. But you know, what a success story in taking people out of poverty. It's an incredible over the last 20 years. I mean, we are in awe of you.
We're still trying.
And I know it's not good enough, and you keep telling me, and all my Indian friends says, well, we got to do better. And I know you do, but you will. And even fighting HIV/AIDS, when it was, you dealt with it. And you started your own generic factories. They're all sort of very industrious and Indian. You got, you know, you're just brilliant. And you got through that, and it was really inspiring.
It's good you see all that. It's a great reminder for our audience as well. You know, every time you are critical of your work, great things come out of it. For example, Your Streets Have No Name is one of the best written for all of us. But you still think it could have been better. Again, my question is, how could this be better?
That's funny. I feel it like it's like a lyric I never finished. But the music of it, which Edge is largely responsible for, the music of it is magic.
It's magical.
The lyric is just like a sketch. But at the heart of the sketch is a big idea. At the heart of the sketch, it says, I want to run, I want to hide, I want to tear down the walls that hold me inside. And it's, I want to go there with you. Do you want to go? It's an invitation. Do you want to go to this other place? Place of imagination, a place of soul. And should we go there together? And it's you're asking the audience, tonight, on this moment, shall we attempt to transcend ourselves?
It's back to the community.
It's a big question to ask a crowd. And the crowd go, okay, we'll go there with you. To this other place. You know, and it's not
I think
physical
it's a great
place.
lyric. I love the lyric. I always have, because of what it suggests. And it's almost the things that it doesn't, the thoughts that are left hanging are what make it so powerful. It leaves the listener kind of figuring out the next part of the idea.
My last question is, you always talk about connecting with the crowd, the person standing in the last row. How do you do that in a huge crowd everywhere?
You have to connect with the song first. You have to connect with the band. Ours is, U2 is a story of chemistry. We make each other better. We're interesting on our own, perhaps, but maybe not that interesting. But together we have something, and then we try to serve the songs. And when we do, distance disappears. We also, I mean, to be fair, go to a lot of trouble to get the technology and the video systems, and we've always tried to to shrink the stadium to try and turn it into a club or a theater. And you know, in Mumbai, I promise you, we're going to shrink that place. We're going to make distance disappear if we succeed.
Great, of course you will. See you in Mumbai then.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohan.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.